Okay, coming at you from the car, why keto? It's kind of a long story, but I have autoimmune thyroid disease and I was diagnosed with adrenal fatigue a couple years ago. I've always eaten pretty clean, organic and that kind of thing, but wasn't seeing the changes in my body that I wanted. I had a couple people in my life that knew a little bit about keto and decided to give it a shot. Within several days, I felt tons of energy, mental clarity. I've experienced weight loss, enhanced muscle tone. I've also implemented keto for our family. And my 10-year-old daughter is on keto and she's seen improvements in her autoimmune thyroid disease as well. So keto for life right here.
So why keto? Short story, I looked in the mirror one day, said, dang, you got big and your pant size went up a lot, and I didn't think that was cool, so I decided to change something about it. Did some research, found keto, gave it a shot. It worked for me really, really well. I found that even though it was tough initially to avoid the sugars and the carbohydrates and a lot of the things that I loved in the food categories, pretty soon I found out that I was satiated. I was eating healthier because I was filling in the gaps with stuff like vegetables. And now it's just kind of smooth sailing. It's a lifestyle for me. And 45, 50 pounds down, I feel pretty darn good about it. So anybody who's trying keto, feel free to reach out, and best of luck.
What is up, y'all? It's been like a week since I've recorded a video. This is ridiculous. I've had an insanely busy week with work. Made a quick trip to Chicago. Was hoping I could bring y'all along and get some sweet shots of the city. And I don't know, Chicago's a beautiful city, but it was freezing cold and super cloudy and not a good day weather-wise, but it was super awesome with customers. Is this inappropriate? Should I put a shirt on? I feel like I'm like too reflective. I need some more sun. I'm gonna put a jacket on. All right, I got something a little bit more appropriate to put on. Oh, there we go. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I wish I had guns to welcome y'all to the gun show with. I'll get there. I'll get there. That's part of the year. Train mean, right? All right, but today I want to talk to y'all about eating clean. So here's the deal. I'm headed into this new journey of the ketogenic diet. Wanted to share some thoughts with y'all on why and kind of where that came from and where I'm at and all of this sort of stuff.
So the first thing I want to say is that I look forward to my Saturday mornings where I can dress in sweatpants and look like a slob, and then my husband says, oh, I want to put a camera in your face. And he waits till I'm eating. And then the baby needs to take a nap and she's fussy.
Look at yourself. Look. Who's there? So you know that thing where somebody tells you something for like years and years, and in this case 15 years, like a decade and a half, and then one day it just finally clicks? Joanna hasn't been trying to get me to be keto, but she's been trying to get me to be aware of food and what you eat. Suddenly it just kind of clicked for me. My dad was in town this past weekend. He's doing ketogenic, and when it finally clicked in my head was when I was talking to him about my blood sugar levels and how I was constantly on this roller coaster of blood sugar. And he said, Aaron, that's exactly what I was going through. To see my own flesh and blood, like my own genes standing there telling me, hey, this is what I struggled with and this is how I resolved it. That's when it finally became something that I really wanted to pursue. So lots of benefits to doing it, but the main thing that I was interested in was controlling my blood sugar. A massive side benefit is the weight loss that will happen. And I've been doing this for about a week to the day now, and I've lost about 8 pounds. Which is actually pretty good. So, but the number one question that I get whenever people find out is, what can you eat? It's a way of eating that's a subcategory of LCHF, so low carb, high fat diet. But the main things that I eat are going to be eggs, beef, chicken, fish, avocados, any kinds of healthy fats, butter, olive oil. There's some nuts, pecans, almonds, walnuts, berries, so like blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries. What am I missing?
Lots of vegetables.
Lots of vegetables.
Being mindful
cheese.
of certain vegetables that are a little bit, like sweet potatoes are really high in carbohydrates.
Right. You want
like leafy greens.
You want the cruciferous vegetables.
Broccoli, cauliflower.
Yep.
kale,
Broccoli, cauliflower, kale.
cabbage.
And the whole idea is to have your body transform from using carbohydrates and sugar as their energy source to using fat as your energy source. So it does two things for me. It takes me off that sugar roller coaster, and then it transitions me into the ability to burn fat as fuel through that whole ketone process, which I'm not really gonna get into here, but that's why I'm doing it.
I would say I'd highly recommend, if people are curious about it, to find, I'm sure there are tons of YouTube videos about that, because ketogenesis is really interesting. Like the physiology behind basically forcing your body to use different types of foods to gain energy. Carbohydrates are a really easy energy source for your body,
right.
But like fats are very energy dense. They have a lot of calories. You could get a lot of energy from them, but your body isn't necessarily primed to do that unless you get into a ketogenic state.
Sure.
So you have to basically remove the carbohydrate from your body, force your body into this process. But the physiology behind it's really neat.
Yeah, it is pretty fascinating.
So,
one of the things I did learn though is if you are type 1 diabetic, do not do this.
Yeah.
You will hurt yourself because of the inability to handle the extra ketones and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and so ketogenic means basically ketone bodies are a byproduct of this alternate energy route, that's alternate way of getting energy. So if your body is doing this successfully, then you're going to create ketone bodies, and then that will be present and you can measure those and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So that's why it's ketogenic, creating ketones.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna sit here and tell you that the ketogenic diet is interesting, and I think it's beneficial for people who need like extreme weight loss, or even to maybe just rethink what they're eating. A lot of vegetables, a lot of clean eating, not processed foods.
Sure.
Is always
That's a big
beneficial,
piece of it,
right? So, and when I say clean, eat clean, that's what I mean. It's not low fat, it's not, whatever. It means no processed foods. Like eat foods in their natural state without a lot of additives and things like that. So butter is great, cheese is great, because they're natural foods.
Yeah. Nutella.
Shut up. Snickers
I won't
bars.
tell them you eat a lot of Nutella and Snickers.
I don't eat a lot of Nutella. I mean, sometimes I do.
Although she just had a fit test done, and her body fat percentage is in the athlete range.
I'm super supportive of this, and I'm super supportive of the idea of mindful eating and cutting out processed foods and getting rid of extra sugar.
Yeah.
I think if everybody did that,
and that's the crazy part. I was talking about this with Brian the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, our food system is broken." They tried to get away from. I guess it was in like the 50s. He was saying. That there was a lot of fat, and people were like, okay, we need to remove fat from our diet.
I've been saying this for years.
Yes, I know. Well, this was the 50s. This was far before you were born, Dren.
No, this
you've
is
been
what
saying
I
it to
studied
me.
in college,
Yes, I know.
and I've been telling you this, and you're like, oh, so read this study. And I'm like, I've been reading those books for 15 years, Aaron.
Anyway,
happy for you.
so they started moving fat out of foods, and in order to replace the flavor,
They added sugar.
Right. And so as I've kind of embarked on this journey the past week, I've been doing this for a week now, Joanna. I know everything, okay?
That hurts me.
Everywhere I go, everywhere I look, it's like it's just sugar. Everything is just sugar.
Low fat is the stupidest thing ever, and we are a generation that grew up in the 80s when the low fat boom was really popular. Everything was low fat because that's going to be healthy for you.
Everything was neon, low fat, and extreme spelled without the first E.
Yeah. But nobody, like, you look at indigenous people, like Eskimo tribes that eat a diet of 80% seal blubber or whatever, whale blubber. They're eating fat, like
Blubber.
that's where they get their calories, and yet they don't die of heart disease.
Right.
But Americans do, even though we eat low fat. We're fatter than we ever have been as a culture, as a society, even though we don't eat fat. Well, now they're saying, we cannot actually show any link between increased fat consumption and heart disease. That's not really where it is. The obscene amount of sugar that we eat and we drink it as a culture is just terrible. And then people now have all these artificial sweeteners to get around it because we're designed to just crave sweets, and it's supposed to you know, it's hard to kick that habit. But those artificial sweeteners are carcinogenic. They're, you know, they're messing with people too. Like that video we watched where the guy was drinking Diet Coke all the time and he went blind.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, he went blind. The dude was drinking 2 liters? 2 liters of Diet Coke a day.
Yeah.
And he lost his sight. And then he stopped and gained his sight back in like a week or so.
And it's so rampant, people don't even realize. Like, if you love Starbucks, go to Starbucks next time, ask them, and order your favorite drink. And if you've never thought about it before, ask them, how many pumps of sugar, of syrup, do they put in your drink? And it's probably 1/4 cup. I mean, that's like several hundred calories of sugar, just pure sugar.
Yeah.
There's no nutrients in that at all. It's not benefiting you in any way. It's just extra energy that your body is taking in and then hopefully using, but probably not.
And that was one of the things I realized too.
So, and just with that, people will get skim milk lattes because fat is bad for you, and then they'll have this much sugar on the bottom of their cup. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Take the sugar out, or if you're getting used to that, like, cut it in half, you know, just slowly taper off. The fat's not gonna hurt you, that sugar is.
Yeah. So I used to think that I couldn't handle coffee and that my body was, I just didn't know how to process caffeine, and it wasn't caffeine, it was all the sugar in the coffee drinks I was having. I would have this massive crash and I would feel sick. I'm like, man, okay, I guess I can just never drink coffee. I moved to keto, and all you can drink is water, tea, and coffee. And I've been doing black coffee all week.
Or
and
coffee
have not
with
had,
cream.
Sure.
I mean, you can have
like heavy whipping cream or butter or whatever, like bulletproof coffee. Anyway, we gotta cut this off because our kids are screaming.
Nap time!
And I haven't had a single issue, so yeah, it's the sugar. Anyway, quick update.
So many opinions on this. And maybe someone out there on YouTube will listen to me because my husband doesn't.
Okay, we're gonna stop here.
Baby alert downstairs.
Nice, all right.